And welcome back to the show, where we're right in the middle at the moment of taking a look at Supanova 2024 in Melbourne and what Lee and I got up to while we were there and what we enjoyed. And I'm going to tell you now about a couple of the people that we went along and saw in the Q&As that I really enjoyed. One of the ones I was really excited about was seeing Karen Fukuhara, because of course she's in so many things that I love and watch. Of course, she played Katana in Suicide Squad. She plays Kimiko in The Boys, which is a show that I absolutely love. She was Kata in Bullet Train, the old great big action spectacular with Brad Pitt last year. And of course she's in The Boy and the Heron, an animated film that I really enjoyed that came out last year as well. And she's also voices one of the characters as well in She-Ra. So she's done so much, like Robot Chicken and so much voice acting. But it was great to be able to sit down and listen to Karen talk about these roles. As she said, coming into The Boys was interesting for her because she came in a few episodes after the others. So she was a little bit worried that she was going to be imposing on the family. But she said all of the guys and gals were really, really great that work on the show, and that they took her out to dinner and stuff like that. But it was really interesting hearing her talk about the difference in acting for voice acting to acting in front of a camera, because not a lot of people would realize that the work that she's been doing recently in front of the camera has been some of her first kind of in-camera shots. Like, she was a voiceover actor before that. She also went into great detail talking about what it's like being involved with a show like She-Ra, where it has a multi-generational audience, so there's young people out there that are just discovering She-Ra for the first time, but there's also a very strong support from people of like our age that grew up with She-Ra being in He-Man. So she talked about that as well and what that's been like. She talked about what it was like working on big blockbusters like Bullet Train and Suicide Squad, and how those movies allow her to be really, really physical as well, like being able to do fight sequences and stuff like that. So I was already a fan of hers because of the characters that she's played over the last few years, and I think I'm even more of a fan of hers now because of what she said during her Q&As. The other person I was really excited to see this year as well was Jodie Whittaker, who most people would know as one of the incantations of the Doctor in Doctor Who, and by far, Lee, she had the biggest audience of the Q&As, didn't she?
It was packed out, so all the chairs were gone, and standing room. So I think for me, attending Q&As, I found that Ivana Lynch the chairs were pretty full, almost all full. But for Jodie, it was completely full and standing room as well.
Yeah, Doctor Who actors always kind of have that pull at Supanova or Oz Comic Con or any of the ones they come out to, because it's so rare for us here in Australia to be able to actually see a doctor, like as in have one come out and chat to us. We've been lucky now that I've been able to see a few of the doctors chat at the conventions over the years as well. And I love the fact that so many of them are really honest about their time on the show, because it does feel like it's one of those shows that when you're playing that role, and let's be honest, it's one of the most famous roles in the world, you have to be careful what you say. So a lot of the time when an actor is playing Doctor Who, they're not always that open in interviews. I remember a few years ago, we went and saw Christopher Eccleston, who played one of the Doctors, and he opened up about where he stood on politics and things like that, and he'd said, I couldn't say that when I was working on the show. Jodie Whittaker was the same. For those that don't know, she is the first female incarnation of the Doctor, and when she was first announced that she was going to be taking that role, there were people out there who wrote some pretty nasty and hurtful things on the internet. There were people saying that they would never watch Doctor Who again, that had been watching it for years, and she kind of talked about that a little bit, about what that was like, coming in almost to a hostile environment to play the Doctor, and she was talking about her love for the character. I think that's one thing I think you've found the samely over the years. Actors that have played the Doctor talk about their love for the role, and their love for the fans, because it is a pretty fanatical show. People get very, very fanatical about that show. I love that she talked about who her favourite villains were on Doctor Who, and she told the story about how her favourite villains are the Weeping Angels, and when she shot those scenes it terrified her because some of the Weeping Angels are fake, some are CGI, and some are real people, and you never know which is which. And so she said suddenly someone would move next to her and terrify her. I was also very, very glad that she spoke about a movie that I love called Attack the Block that she made back in 2011 with Nick Frost. And that is just one of those cult movies where if you've never seen it, go and watch it. It's about an alien invasion that's basically warded off by guys that live in housing commission. It is a really, really... It's a funny film, but as Jodie Whittaker said, it is also a film that has a very strong moral message about, we see people that live in that kind of environment and are in gangs and stuff like that. We're very quick to judge. Well, that movie kind of explored what it's like for people on the other side as well. She also talked about being part of Broadchurch, which of course is another UK show that kind of made her very, very famous before she was involved with Doctor Who. And she also talked about a show that is out on streaming platforms in Australia now called One Night, which of course saw her get to come to Australia and work on that show. And she revealed that she has a genuine love for Australia off the back of working on that show, and she was glad to be back in Melbourne once again. So
it certainly makes me want to watch it, actually. So we've had a little look on IMDb to see where we can watch it, and we're going to give that a go because it just sounded really intriguing.
And I had a little talk to Lee too, and Lee's agreed that she might want to watch the Doctor Who, the modern day Doctor Who episodes as well, to try and get up to date with Doctor Who, seeing she hasn't watched it since she was a kid. So
that's true.
Yep. So Lee, what else did we do at Supanova this year? Like, I know one of the things that people love to hear on this show is what did we buy this year at Supanova?
Yes, the exhibition, the stalls, it's amazing because you've got all pop culture in one place, and of course you've got the two different areas that you can go to. Lots of shops in the main showroom, I guess you'd call it, and then in the second room building, you have a lot of artwork and artists in there while you can actually see them sketching or drawing, or they've got their comics that they've been working on and published, and they'll sign things for you. So you've got so many things to look at. There's over 100. There'd be over 100 stalls to look at.
Oh, I reckon there'd be a couple of hundred, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so there are so many things. I want to give a shout out this year to Rogue Online, one of the places that we went to, selling pop culture. And we collect pops, and so pop vinyls, and she had a whole section of $10 pops, and we were very excited about that. So we came home with quite a few, added to my Harry Potter collection, and we got some Spider-Mans, and we got some gifts for other people as well while we were there. I also enjoy the cookie stall. I'm not sure what it's called, to be honest, but there is only one there, and it's, I head for that shop every time I am there. They're magnificent, and I munch away on my cookies during some of the Q&A panels. But the artwork in the the big art room is just amazing, and to be able to talk to the artists themselves is just such a special thing, and to see their work in the form of whether it's a comic or a painting or a drawing or crafts or whatever it is, there's such a variety in there, and it felt like it was even more diverse this year.
Yeah, there was so much stuff this year. I bought a few things. It was just great seeing that some stalls this year had some real bargains. So I bought the Batman character encyclopedia for probably about 1/10 of what I've seen it for sale in other shops.
Because we're always looking for a bargain.
Yeah. I also found a store that was selling graphic novels very, very cheap. I was able to get the complete set of the modern day Riverdale graphic novels, and also the Josie and the Pussycat ones, and the X-Files season 11, and the guy had recognized us from other cons, so said that I could have them as a ultra bargain. But of course, the big one this time around, like usual, Jamie Johnson, who is a comic book artist. He works on, at the moment, the Phantom comics and also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he always has great bargains. In fact, Lee and I made a joke at one point that I bought 3 pieces of art off Jamie for about the same price as what some people had one piece of art for. So I added to my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection from Jamie's work by buying 3 more of those. And I can't remember the artist who did it, but I also bought a pretty cute Mandalorian Grogu piece of artwork as well. So
yeah, yep. There's certainly lots of stalls there that we love. Another one I think is it Demon Rose or something like that, and Stuart.
Yes.
That we just love their work and how different, I guess, their artwork is. Very different to each other. I think Demon Rose I think that's what it's called. Has a lot of kind of gothic type looking pictures, but of everyday characters as well. And then Stuart has the classics of a number of TV shows and also
and
film.
movies.
Yep. So very diverse range, where others might hone in on specific DC or Marvel characters, or the work that they're actually doing officially for DC or Marvel.
Yep. So if you are a fan of conventions, stay tuned over the next couple of weeks or the next few weeks, because we are hoping to have some of the guests from Oz Comic Con Perth on our show over the next few weeks, and we'll also be having guest announcements on our show for Oz Comic Con Melbourne and also Sydney. So stay tuned for those. But once again, we want to thank the team at Supanova. They have been great for us over the years and inviting us along to their convention to be able to work there for the entire weekend. So we just want to thank especially Lionel, who always looks after us with Supanova. So thank you so much for the entire team, and once again, Supanova Melbourne was an absolute blast. So congratulations, guys.
Yes, and just a shout out to everyone who put so much effort into costumes.
Yeah.
The cosplays are unbelievable. A lot of time and effort, but even just walking around as you're going in between Q&As and going in to see stalls, or even if you're going in to see all the amazing costumes, they just give you a lot of joy and smiles as they're walking around. And the time they take out to have, kids have a photo with them and adults to have a photo with them, or I think it's just a very special atmosphere that's created at these conventions, where people are accepted as they are, and you can be anything or anyone you want to be. And
I think that is one of the great things. I was going to say that earlier about Supanova and about conventions like that, about how everybody can just be who they want to be. And one of the things I see at these conventions that I think is so beautiful is you see a lot of people with disabilities there with their carers.
Yes.
And the staff and the people on the stalls treat those people with such respect. Will stop and talk to them. People in cosplay will stop and talk, and it's just really nice because so often people like that with their carers get overlooked at different events, or the opposite happens where they kind of it all becomes too much. But just to see those people being able to go along to an event like that and be accepted for who they are, and to have so much fun, and you see the joy on their faces when they're going around and meeting people and stuff. So there was one of the things I loved this year in a few of the Q&As we went to. There was a man in a wheelchair who had to use a voice machine, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name that does the Q&As. I can't think of his name, but he's a comedian from Melbourne, and every time this guy put his hand up to ask a question, he was there straight away and helped him out with the voice machine. And I thought that was such a nice touch, because so many people running an event like that would have probably just overlooked that guy and gone to other people that could ask their own questions. So I thought that was a really, really nice touch. And I feel really, really bad that I can't think of the guy's name that does those Q&As, but I thought that was a really nice touch to be able to give that guy a voice and be able to let him ask questions to his heroes as well. I thought that was really, really nice. But yeah, thank you so much to the team at Supanova, and congratulations, you guys did great as usual.